Old World, Florida. Dr. Naco Longo. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Magic. Welcome to Florida, baby. Florida is the original Garden of Eden. Florida has the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world. Florida oranges are the golden apples of mythology. A race of giant men once roamed this peninsula. The Smithsonian can suck my balls. Florida is littered with many ancient megalithic ship anchors, known as Saxor stones. I'm bringing Saxor back. Noah's Ark was constructed out of gopher wood. Gopher wood only grows one place in the world, Florida. Florida is the birthplace of the United States. The first Thanksgiving was in Florida. Let the black drink flow. Orange man good. Click his way out of Florida.
Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the Casting Couch. The Casting Couch Astrology podcast, that is. And tonight we've got an exciting show. Some pretty niche, interesting stuff that no one talks about. Let's see, where am I looking at tonight? My microphones, I'm missing an adapter. So my microphone is probably not as good tonight, but just bear with us.
Sounds fine, man.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So we're talking about politics tonight. Everyone's favorite subject, right? Everybody's. And this is a perspective on astrology. Sorry, an astrological perspective on politics that nobody talks about, okay? Party affiliations, and then, the various forms of government can all be explained through astrology. Basically, conservative, liberal, right, left, this is just another way that astrological influence lets itself be known. And really, all things are governed by God, and astrology is the 3D printer that God makes things happen down here with. So that applies to politics as well. And we're going to be talking about the two parties tonight in America. And again, this is an American-centric, American, English-speaking, unapologetic, Anglo-American-centric podcast. So suck it. I don't care, whatever. And yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. I'm excited because I know this is stuff nobody else is talking about on YouTube. So, but first, Steve, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing great, man. Hope you are. Hope the chat is. And yeah, dude, I love astrology. I love politics. I used to be a normie, then kind of evolved, and now I see it from that the wider lens. So this is such a cool way to look at things, I think.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, I like the whiteboard in the back.
Thank you, bro.
That's good. It's nice. What's that over there on the right?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
This is a copy of The Monad from Gallo Glass Books. Pretty cool book. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
We got some super chats here before we even start. John Sup 1744 with the $2 says, I want this to be awesome. Well, we'll try and live up to that.
It will be.
Red Pill 78 wife said with the $9.99, appreciate that, says Happy New Year. Happy New Year. She's got her flamingo on her profile picture there. Flamingos are making a comeback in Florida, believe it or not. Dude, I'm so stoned. I cannot open my eyes all the way.
I didn't even notice, man.
Fuck.
I saw your Instagram story though about flamingos. Yeah, apparently they're breeding again for the first time like 100 years. Is that the case?
Oh yeah.
Nice, dude. Let's go flamingos. Got to get to it.
Okay. Thanks for the tips. Let's put us in our little spot here. Nice. Look at that. Look at the nice background.
Looks sick, man.
So that our backdrop is the last thing you see when you pass out on the casting couch, and the sky is just spinning around you. And that's funny.
Time keeps on ticking.
So let's. You got a little slideshow we can run through?
Yes, sir. The screen is shared right now.
Oh hell yeah!
Start with a good thumbnail, dude, and you see immediately the dichotomy. Red, blue, donkey, elephant, Saturn, Jupiter. Those are all things we're gonna hit tonight, and then way more new.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good place to start off. There's one thing that I really want to tackle because I know a lot of people are just going to be dumping it in the comments left and right, okay? And I'm with you. I know where it's coming from. I get the good intention, okay? But we also need to recognize the condescension that sometimes happens and the snobbery, okay? Where people, we're all at different points in this truther uh,
Journey,
journey.
awakening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. And some people are just learning about stuff. Okay, take it easy on them, right? Extend a hand out. But something that I really hate is when people say red versus blue, two sides of the same coin, two wings of the same bird. Oh, you haven't figured that one out, little buddy. Oh, that's cute. I remember my first conspiracy theory. Right. And I wish they were that, manly or whatever, but it's usually snarly and ratty and little.
Feminine and nasally. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that out there. We tackle that on this channel where people are, and we're all guilty of it. Okay. I've been guilty of it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The truthers need to do a little better, but I hate when it's because it's a form of black pilling, specifically what I'm talking about. When you say red and blue are the same, and when you say right and left are the same, what are you getting at there? Are you just saying you've seen some corruption in your own life and in America's government, and then what? It's safe to just reach the conclusion red and blue are the same? And I know we're playing with kind of some simple concepts here, but is it not completely retarded to think red and blue are the same? To ignore all the differences? You're hyper fixating on the things that unite them. Corruption, right? In America, right? Especially.
Mm-hmm.
Red and blue are not the same, people. Stop acting like it. Right and left are not the same. God put two paths in the road for a goddamn reason. Pick one, recognize the risks in the other, recognize the risks in both, and pick one. Whatever. Why am I going off on this? I'm a Republican, folks. I'm red till I'm dead, unless there's some major shifts and changes. Okay, I know when I vote one way, the streets get cleaned up, and there's less scum, less God knows who running around on the streets. You can whine and whine about corruption and Epstein Island and the Epstein files, and okay, whatever. I don't feel entitled to a spotless lamb of a leader. Okay. I'm blessed to have Donald Trump as our president, the best president there's been in America in decades and decades, since JFK. Can we recognize, can we all just accept that? Can we all just admit that? Donald Trump is the best president since JFK. And Merlin can disagree if he wants, whatever. But I'm passionate about politics because I see the differences. I see the change. And if you're ignoring the change, you're retarded. You're just not. Don't let a little bit of mold on the fruit, a little bit of rot. Don't throw out the whole harvest, So, okay, roast me, disagree in the comments. I don't care, whatever. But we're going to explain, me and Merlin, the two-party system, and how it's rooted in not only astrology, but some other kind of divine principles that I don't think people should just scoff at. And another one, yeah, that's some good weed if you can't tell. Yeah, I might just clip this whole part out tomorrow. I don't know, who knows.
No way, dude. You're on fire right now, dude.
So, Coke versus Pepsi. this is another one that gets me fired up. You've got to be so dumb to not look just a little bit into Coke versus Pepsi. Coca-Cola is non-GMO'd. Pepsi's fully GMO'd. Now, I'll still drink a Pepsi in a pinch, okay? But Coca-Cola is undeniably better, okay? Undeniably better. Coca-Cola is the beverage of billionaires. So when people say Coke versus Pepsi, as if they have like 300 IQ, or they say two sides of the same coin as if they have 300 IQ. Oh, you really still vote? Meanwhile, their kids are getting R-worded by illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Oh, you really still vote? You really fall for that? You really think your vote matters? Meanwhile, their daughter's getting like God knows what, potentially, by God knows who. Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's sick, man. This stuff's actually happening, man. You're right.
That happens, and it honestly gets me a little pissed off because people will let crime get worse and worse because they're refusing to participate in the system. There's so many good truthers out there who won't even touch a voting ballot because they think they're fighting the system that way. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by voting? 20 minutes. Go to the fucking your local library or wherever your thing is. Okay. All right, people. Merlin, you wanna touch on this before we get into it?
Yeah, and what you were saying before about the truthers and the condescension, and we're all like on different stages of the journey, is so true. And that's a motif that, like, when you read the Bible, it says several times over and over, he who is first shall be last, and he who is last shall be first. Over and over, like all throughout the Bible. So it's like, just because you're the first one there doesn't mean you're a special boy. Like, none of us knows everything, but none of us knows nothing. And none of our journeys are complete yet. So like there's no gloating. There's no sense in gloating just because, like, oh, I figured out the JQ blah blah blah. It's like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, there's also this hill to climb and that hill to climb and this to learn and that to learn. So like, I agree with Longo, like, drop the holier than thou attitude. There are so many different things to consider when it comes to being a truther and astrology and politics and life, so I would just say that.
100%. And I think, hey, the guy who said Longo's way too high, I think he misspelled too, by the way. So
he did.
Watch yourself. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna bring up my notes here.
We got the red, blue, and then the Baphomet.
Okay, Baphomet's a good place to start. Baphomet is a good place to start. People, there's a lesson in Baphomet, okay? You see the right hand going up, the left hand going down. Just keep that in mind, okay? Just meditate on it for a sec. When people say right versus left, red versus blue, they think they cracked the code. They think they figured out the matrix, right? Well, right versus left are not necessarily right versus left equal lateral. It's not a lateral decision necessarily. One of the lessons that Baphomet can teach us, I'm not a Baphomet guy, okay? I spit on Baphomet, okay? I don't like Baphomet. But one of the lessons there is that right is up and left is down. The choices we make are not like on a lateral spectrum. It's like a spiral staircase. Right brings you up and left brings you down. So people who think they're going to choose the left-hand path in life and end up in the same spot, No. You're going downstairs, and maybe it might feel like you're in the same spot because it's like a spiral staircase. This is how music works too. The notes that go up, you're going in one direction, but you're kind of returning to the same spot while ascending. Right? Okay. Well, Baphomet is showing us that right is up and left is down. And I'm going to make the argument that this is like a direct correlation to politics too. And at least Republicanism today in America, what that represents, and I'm not even saying the Republican Party, but we're going to really focus on the words Cancer and conservative and Libra and liberal. And we're going to show how the red and the blue and the up and the down gets its kind of origin and mechanics from astrology, from the zodiac. So right off the bat, see if you got any graphics for this.
Sure.
Conservative and liberal. The parties come and go, right? We've got Republican, Democrat right now, but the parties have came and went throughout history, but there will always be a right and a left, right? Okay. Liberal. Yeah, that's a good place to start right there. Thanks. I'm going to show you that right is up and left is down, pretty much. This chart's kind of a little bit, it's accurate, it's true to how astrological charts are plotted. Aries is over there to the left. But there's another way you could, if you spun this basically, you could put Cancer up a little higher. Like when in Freemasonic art, they'll put Cancer up at the top of the arch, very, very high. So, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Conservative and liberal come from Cancer and Libra. Cancer and Libra is where we get conservative and liberal. And we're going to show you with etymology, phonetics, words that sound like other words, always reveal a higher truth, a divine thread, right? An original meaning to sound. Words that sound alike always are connected in some special way. So, conservative comes from Cancer, and pretty much no one ever talks about that on YouTube, and it blows me away. All the big astrologers will spend hours and hours on politics, tracking elections, tracking stuff like that. And they won't talk about just the party names themselves. And we're going to talk about the animals of the parties tonight too. But Cancer comes from conservative. So let's hop on to the conservative slide.
Oh, sure. Like the animals for the conservatives?
Well, you had one there for Libra, right?
Yeah, I can put that up. And I would just say real quick too on the Baphomet thing, like think about like what the different parties or sides are associated with, right? Like the right side, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And then to be a leftist or a collectivist, you must put yourself below the system. So like if you're on the right, like you put yourself above the system and control the government, whereas on the left, it's about the government controlling the people, making yourself less than, lower than. So there's just a little up-down connection there. And here is the conservative slide.
Oh, yeah. And this is a good comment here from Magic Garden Mike. It says, right hemisphere of the brain is where the higher mind is. That's correct. So I would say yes, that even applies to having. Damn, some cute girls just walked up. Just kidding, just teasing. So what was I talking about? Oh, right.
Conservatives. right brain, right brain.
Yeah, right hemisphere of the brain. And so right, left is apparent even, like he's saying, in the hemispheres of the brain. I'm not necessarily going to say the right brain is better, right? But maybe we could say it's essential. Because I think for most places, the left brain is kind of the starting point. Maybe not in childhood, but just kind of looking around. There's, I don't know, you know, we're in America, it's hard to tell. But here, there is, it seems a lot more left brain people, right? And we like to think of like creative types as right brained, but I'm even skeptical of that, of the creative people today not even being that right brained, what being right brained really means. So, because basically what I'm saying is, I don't know, I don't think there's a direct parallel, like, oh yeah, conservatives are more right brained. I don't think that. But there is a connection. There is something to that. There's a righteousness, a rightness, right living on the right side. And that's in the brain too, you know. You make, according to what a lot of people say, to what some of the Bible, you know, symbolism, allegory says, going to the right side should bring righteousness, right? A better way of thinking. It's not necessary.
Righteousness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay. Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac, and the glyph is 6-9 right there, for those who don't know. Cancer is where we get the word conservative. I don't know if, you know, fucking a dictionary is going to tell you that, but I'm telling you that, okay? We've talked a lot about the etymology of cancer and some other words, you know, and goddesses like Khonsu, Egyptian goddess. We'll get to her, I guess. But conservative comes from Cancer. And real quick, America is a Cancer country, by the way. We're born July 4th. That's in Cancer. So let's say this. Okay, the animal for Cancer is the crab, but the animal for the Republican Party is the elephant. So how do we get from Cancer to the elephant? Well, watch this. Signs of the zodiac have ruling planets. That's kind of where they get all their flavor, in my opinion. You know, a sign is just a place that kind of contains or receives planetary energy. The signs are kind of like combinations of planetary energy. So, Cancer is ruled by the moon primarily. But what exalts in Cancer? Jupiter exalts. Jupiter is the planet of righteousness, the planet of abundance, peace, forgiveness. Very, you know, righteous planet, benevolent. Some quotes about Jupiter. If Jupiter were the only planet in the sky, mankind would know no strife, no want, no need, and would live forever. But that's not what God intended, so God threw the other planets in there to infect and, you know, bring chaos. So the other planets are, they're not all malevolent, but they all kind of confuse and scramble God's creation, whereas Jupiter is really like the egg of creation itself. Jupiter exalts in Cancer. Exalt means it's at its happiest, it's at its best, it's strongest, it's doing its job the best, right? So the moon exalts in Taurus, but it rules Cancer. You see the distinction? Well, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, but Jupiter exalts in Cancer. That's why we get, as we said in the last couple episodes, that's why you get Jew and July from Cancer, or Cancer is in June and July. It gets that Jew phonetic root from Jupiter. Not the Jews, sorry.
Nope.
Okay.
And you can see the connection too, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. Right-leaning people tend to be more religious because Jupiter is the planet of religion, and the two signs most associated with religion will be Sagittarius and Pisces. So you get those, religious tendencies in those right-leaning parties typically, whereas leftists, atheistic, especially look at the Soviet Union, as far left as you can go. Didn't they outlaw religion in the Soviet Union, or it was really persecuted? Crazily, crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. It was, I think most music was kind of restricted. Cancer, conservative. Okay, what are some other Cancer words? Let's help you get a feel for Cancer. And not many astrologers talk about Jupiter when they're talking about Cancer. They don't establish that connection. So Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac. It's a water sign. It is, the crab is the animal for Cancer, and the 6 and the 9 you can almost see are like crab claws, right? Like folded in front. But there's also the 6-9 makes sense. 69ing makes sense with Cancer too. Okay, maybe we'll get into that. Mm-hmm. Tip. Let's see some tips if you want me to talk about 69ing. Okay. Otherwise, so Cancer, conservative. What are some other Cancer words? Consume, considerate, consume, consumerism, considerate, right? Consent, consistent, consistency, console, right? To console someone, make them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Counsel, so to make a group decision. Consensual, right? That's, again, that same root of a group decision, agreeing on something. Consort. Excuse me. Consecrate. Concert, right? Like consort. Concert, playing music. Cantar. Cantador in Spanish. Singer. Singing. Cantar. Conspiracy. Because a conspiracy means with, right? With others. Conspiring means you're doing something with others.
Can't do it solo.
They're all in cahoots together, right? That's what conspiracy thinking is. And then if we let the C go soft in the front of Cancer, we get words like sensitive, sensual, sincere. If you let the second C go hard in Cancer and let the first C go soft, you get words like sink, sank, sunk, sing, sang, song, they sung something, or have you sung, right? People say sung. That's a word, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
We sung that song. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So sink, kitchen sink, right? And that unk, that ank, unk, phonetic root we'll get to in a sec. But all those words stem from Cancer. Astroetymology, folks. That's astroetymology. So America, born in Cancer. Why do we, and unk, since we're on that, why isn't America a motherland or a fatherland? It's because we're an uncle land. We have an uncle, Uncle Sam. That unk goes back to Cancer, believe it or not. So pretty cool. The seasons also, the distinction between right and left. It's not as simple as, oh yeah, red and blue are the same. Well, what if red is hot and blue is cold? Or are we just going to ignore that distinction? The seasons. Cancer is the kingdom of heaven. Summertime. Libra is the fall. Autumn.
Mm-hmm.
When the sun is entombed. The fall of man. When the leaves fall. When the false teachings, false light, right? That's fall time. So there's a big distinction between the two. Cancer lifts you up, sunshine, light, warmth. Libra might be beautiful, might be appealing, might be sexy, lets you down. That's the nature of Libra. Not people, not Libra, not my librarians. Okay, I love you folks. But in terms of mythology, Libra is what comes before the fall. It is the fall. After that, it's Scorpio. It's death. From there, it's a transformation cycle, and you can romanticize it and mythologize and say, "Ooh, it's cool." But it is the negative polarity, negative half of the zodiac, starting with Libra. So, I like Libra. I like Scorpio. Scorpio is my favorite sign. In terms of like what they represent and the depth and the range, but yeah.
And
Thoughts?
going back for a second to the seasons, that's so cool because the word north is an anagram for the word throne. Like north, you can turn it to Thron and throne, and the North Pole, Polaris, the center of Earth, is the throne of God. So yeah, like Cancer is a complete celebration, of God. That's when the sun is closest to God, essentially. So it hits that Tropic of Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, Libra being the fall, like when if leftists get full control and like that authoritarian regime gets in control, that's when things really fall to pieces. That's true misery, as Jordan Peterson would say.
Totally. I'm gonna go grab a water. Can you hold it down for 1 sec?
Yeah, sure. You want to hit to the next subject or what?
Yeah, for sure. You got
Talk
any
about
more
some animals?
slides?
Yeah, tons, man. We got elephants. We got yeah. So the elephant is the animal of the Republican Party, and just think about what an elephant is, what an elephant represents, right? Elephants are huge animals, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion. And what is the most prominent feature of an elephant? The most prominent feature of an elephant is the giant trunk, the nose. And each of the 5 planets is associated with one of the 5 senses. And the sense that Jupiter is associated with is smell. So, like, this animal is such a perfect representation of Jupiter because it has that gigantic nose to smell with. It's huge. They do care for their young very well. They're very defensive. They don't like abandon their children. They really take care of their own. Elephants are said to have elephants have a great memory. And again, tying this back into Jupiter and smell, out of all the 5 senses, which one do you remember the most? Smells. Because think about that, right? You can forget a bad taste, like you can block something out of your memory, but like the sense of smell is very easily recalled to your conscious mind just based off memory. Like if you're like, if you meet a girl, you like her, right? And then she smells bad. It's like, oh, like how horrible is that, right? But like, so that's just, or anything like, you walk into somebody's house and like, oh, their house stinks, right? You'll never forget that. But like if there's like, oh, like some thing that like didn't look too great, it's not too big of a deal. But smells are such a big part of memory, and elephants are so involved with smell and memory. Mm-hmm. What's up, Longo? Welcome back.
Yeah. Like Merlin said, Jupiter, elephant is ruled by Jupiter, the animal elephant. Let's just look at the astroetymology, the phonetics there. Elephant elevate, elevant. It's elevating. Jupiter is the most elevating planet. It is the least dense planet. Jupiter. Saturn's the most dense. Okay, we'll see that. Elephants literally help lift things. How many animals help you lift? Elephants are like a forklift. They're literally like a forklift. Like
That's true. They're shaped like it.
two tusks going up. And their trunk, they can lift things up. And you can, ride them like a horse. So elephants are very Jupiterian. They're wise. They're smart. They are associated with benevolence. And Jupiter, it rules peace, but Jupiter also rules victory. So when Jupiter fights, it's not a battle. It's a complete consumption or absorption or just decimation. It's a victory. Jupiter only wins and conquers, doesn't fight. Go ahead, Merlin.
Somebody in chat said Indian people love them. Dude, some of the craziest shit I've seen on the internet is fucking Indians getting folded by elephants. Have you seen that shit before, dude? It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you do not want to piss an elephant off. That elephant can fuck your day up, dude.
Yeah. Oh, they'll knock a car over easy.
Yeah. Dude, one of the craziest gifts, man. There's like this fucking guy, he gets folded by an elephant, man. Like, it's just, what a brutal way to go.
Yeah. So elephants ruled by Jupiter, and that makes sense why they chose an animal ruled by Jupiter to represent a party that is ruled by Cancer, right? Cancer, conservative. Jupiter exalts in Cancer. That's where you get the elephant. Now with Libra is ruled by Venus, but the planet that exalts is Saturn. So conservative liberal has to do with where Saturn and Jupiter exalt. That's essentially the pattern there. Can we go to Libra and liberal, please?
Yeah, sure. Libra,
just real quick.
Liberal. Yep.
So Libra and liberal. Libra is the 7th sign of the zodiac. So Cancer is the 4th. Libra is the 7th. They are both cardinal signs, so they have that in common, right? Cardinal signs of the zodiac. Libra is the 7th sign, and it doesn't necessarily have an animal traditionally. It doesn't have a hang on, let me throw the music back on.
It's one of the human signs of the zodiac, or just like even a non-human figure. It's the balance, the scales.
Yeah, and all the air signs are part human. So twins, Gemini twins, Libra, Lady Justice holding the scales. There's usually a woman holding the scales. But it can be inanimate. It's either an object or right with a person. Aquarius is a person pouring out the jug. So all the air signs have people in them. Pretty interesting. Not animals. But the animals that I've associated with Libra are the dove and the serpent. Aleister Crowley is a good source for the reasoning behind that. He's got a little poem that he tells about that. The serpent in the tree in the Garden of Eden had a lot to do with Libra. Lucifer has a lot to do with Libra.
Mm-hmm.
So Libra, also the word left. Many L words have to do with Libra. Lucifer, loser, right? Lose, meaning light, but also to like rebel, or to be like, let loose, right? The angels that were let loose rebelled. Libra, the seventh sign of the zodiac, is also the evening, and the evening of the day and the evening of the year. So associated with Eve from the Garden of Eden. The serpent and Eve has a lot to do with Libra, right? So when we say someone's on the left, we're associating them with Libra and Lucifer. And sorry, Eve, but evil, It's on the left side, the left-hand path. And I don't want to go too harsh on Eve. I'm only teasing, but yeah, snakes, the serpent, that's all left-hand path. And what are some other Libra words, right? Libra rules a lot of good stuff too, okay? So Libras are very social, most social sign. Well, that's where we're going to see socialism coming in. I know that, and I know it's a little bit of a stretch there, but Libra is what links those two things together. Libra has a lot to do with, like I said, a little bit of rebellion. They're not the most rebellious sign, but they're certainly up there.
We'll see later. A lot of the left-leaning parties are called the Labour Party in the UK and Australia, the Labour Party, and that's
Right.
just Libra, but you switch the I for an A, and then boom, you've got, or rather the E for an A, and you've got Labour, and that's a Saturnian association right there.
Yeah,
because Saturn rules hard labor.
yeah. Other Libra words, liberty is a Libra word. To be let loose, to be free, to do whatever you want. That is Libra. Libertine. So liberty, but also libertine. What does libertine mean? Hooking up with lots of people, being, drinking, staying out too late. Libertine lifestyle, right? Very Libra. Now, Libras can be very libertine. I will go that far, okay? And Sagittarius are no angels, but yeah, Libras can have a very light or loose approach to life sometimes. Libido. Yep, there's another good liberal Libra word. Libido. Libertine. Libel. So falseness. Remember? Notice these threads, people. Let's bump those IQs up a little bit. Okay, put in some work. You'll see double-digit increases in your IQ. Libel, to lie, right? Falseness, fall time, Libra, lying in Libra. Can't spell Libra without Li, lying. And Li means light, right? So the light of Libra is the false light. It's the light of fall time. The colors of fall time are false. They're the colors of things slowly dying, making their last, gasping breath of life. The color of springtime is true. It is right.
Yeah. It's that beautiful green, the vernal equinox. And how do you say green in Spanish? Verde.
Ooh,
so verde, vernal,
that's
versus
good.
the false light, where you get this beautiful gold, right? Satan tempts Jesus and says, "Oh, I will give you all these riches, all this gold," and then he wants to lead him to the fall.
Inverno. Not true. Inver, right? Inverno.
Yeah.
That's how we say winter. Inverno.
Yep. And ver is all like verity, veritas. It's truth. So inver is an inversion of the truth, of the ver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great little add-on right there. So What other Libra graphics do we have?
We've got the owl. We've
Well,
got.
Put on, yeah. Go to Lady Liberty. That's a
Okay.
good one. Yeah, that's perfect. So Libra, Lady Liberty has a lot to do with Libra too. Okay. Libra is also the word book. Libra, library, books, right? And notice books, there's two halves in the book, right? There's the spine in the center. There's two halves on the book. Libra is between the two halves of the zodiac, right? And if you're also scales, people say scales, that's Libra, right? That's what most people know Libra as, the scales. The scales are used for weighing things. And when you see LB for pounds and you speak English and you're like, what the hell does LB have to do with that?
Mhm.
That's from Libra. That is Libra. It means measurements. LB. Libra rules measurements. So LB is Libra. And when you're weighing something, Libra also rules the waist. The waist. And the kidneys are kind of like two scales too, right?
100%.
So Lady Liberty is very much like a Libra superhero. And does she have a book in one hand?
Do I
Or
have
like
a
scroll? What is it?
on the left hand? What is that there?
Yeah, it's like an ancient clipboard or a book.
A ledger of sorts.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
Libra.
ledger. Yeah.
Yep. That's Libra to the max. A book and a torch. So liberty, scales, justice. That's all Libra. And yeah, Merlin mentioned labor. Also, what is the left very obsessed with? Labeling. Right? Libel and labeling things. So we're redoing pronouns. Okay, we're renaming indigenous, names. Oh, don't call them Indians, don't call them this. Everything needs a new label. Everything has a new extra sub-label and all this. So, but yeah, and Li means light, like I said. So fleur de lis, we hear flower of light. Li, light bringer. Right, Libra is Lucifer. It's where Venus and Saturn come together. Venus is the tempter, Lucifer, and Saturn is Satan from the Bible. Those two planets come together in Libra. So, and again, I love Libras. I'm not trying to be mean, but
Venus is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturn has great qualities. Saturn's there because God created Saturn for a reason.
mhm.
Whenever you see a crown of thorn, guys, it always represents light. And Venus is the brightest planet. You have your luminaries, you have the sun and moon. Out of the 5 planets, Venus is the brightest. That's why when Venus rises before the sun, Venus is Lucifer. And real quick, just because we love dispelling like half-baked truth or midwittery, this is one of those things, guys. So you've heard probably like, oh, the Statue of Liberty is Lucifer. True to an extent, but people often reference this painting at like right here. Like, look at this thumbnail's perfect, right? Like, this is one of those guys long ago was talking about, no offense to this guy, whatever, but like the kind of person who's like, pointing up at like the videos or whatever. Like, guys, you can see on the thumbnail, it's not Lucifer. That is a painting called Satan Summoning His Legions. So it's not Lucifer summoning his legions. And as Longo just pointed out, Lucifer and Satan are not the same thing, but they do often get conflated because of Libra. And so just be mindful of that. Like, that painting is not the reason why this chick's doing the same thing in her video. You've seen the memes, I'm sure. If you've been in the truther sphere for some time, you've seen these memes.
Let that queen speak.
The queen's gotta talk. But however, well, that's BS, right? This picture is authentic. That's Marina Abramovich and Lord Jacob's Rothschild in front of Satan summoning his legions, which she owns that painting. Very weird. So that's true. That's not BS, but the whole like that painting being the similarity between Lucifer and the Statue of Liberty is not the connection to make.
Oh, yeah. We got 300 people in the chat. What's up, y'all? Thanks for being here. We're talking about politics, which everyone loves so much. Everyone's super into politics, of course. And, man, I'm thirsty. That's some good kush.
For any particular reason?
about that good kush and Evian. So yeah, Cancer, Elephant. Let's talk about real quick. I wanted to watch a little something on the elephant.
Yeah, dude. I put it in the private chat.
Well, here. First, let's talk about the donkey, just for a sec, because we already talked about the elephant. Yeah, that's perfect.
I love that picture.
The animal for the left in America, for the Democratic Party, is the donkey. The donkey is a Saturnian animal. Now, some people might say, well, what about the horse? Isn't a donkey just like a horse? Not necessarily. No, folks, okay? The donkey is closer to a zebra than it is a horse. Yep. And the zebra is still alive today. So donkeys have more in common with zebras than a horse.
You do not want to ride a donkey into battle. That would be less than ideal. But you can ride a horse into battle. Mars rules horses, Saturn rules donkeys.
Yeah. So zebras and donkeys can mix. Now horses and donkeys can mix. That's a mule, right? But a donkey is very different from a horse. Donkeys have longer ears, I believe, or at least in comparison to their body size. Kind of like a zebra. But notice that a zebra has black and white. The black and white stripes. They're like a referee, right? It's like the black and white of the Masonic floor, okay? That black and white, like the referee, like this jacket.
A sweet suit.
That's like a Saturnian thing. The referees are like Saturn's representatives on the game field. They are there to rule things, make sure everything's in play, in bounds, make tough decisions, make ejections, right? Karmic decisions. And that's the referee, the mule coming from the zebra. Pretty cool, the black and the white. Now, what else? Well, did you guys know that donkeys have crosses on their back? Donkey, cross on the back. Thank you, Merlin. Donkeys have a cross on their back. My cat also has a cross on his back, like this. But let's talk about donkeys. Jesus rode a donkey, an ass, some say, whatever, mule, whatever it was. But donkey probably makes the most sense. Or is that a mule?
Is this a mule? I googled donkey, so I think it's a donkey.
Which animal has cross on its back? Yeah, donkey. All right, yeah, someone's tripping in the chat, I think. Donkeys have crosses on the back. And that's pretty crazy, right? Because Jesus rode a donkey. Or, okay, I think he was saying Jesus rode a mule. Let me double check that. Did Jesus ride a mule? Donkey. Donkey. Okay. Donkey's colt. There we go. So yeah, just double checking there. That is like some cool symbolism there. Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem. And now donkeys have crosses on their back. Crosses on their backs. Well, did they have crosses before Jesus did that? I don't know. But some people, that's how some people tell the story, you know? Like, oh, they didn't have that pattern on their back before. Then Jesus rode one, and then they put the cross on. What's up? What's so funny?
Someone in chat said Jesus was Shrek, Old World Micmac. And then Don Quixote, too. He was a bit of a jackass, you know? He was very constrained by his limitations, you know? And that's a very Saturnian connection to donkeys, right? They're an animal of labor. They're constrained. They live a very hard life. You know, not a lot of donkeys live in the high life.
Right. And, you know, the cross is definitely a Jupiterian symbol, but it's also a little bit Saturnian. For example, Kra, all words that start with Kra, K-R, or C-R, go back to Kronos and Saturn. Saturn is Kronos, and Loki, same guy. Okay, here, donkey, Loki. The down key, the low key. Dawn,
All right.
the ruler, right? Dawn, the Lord. Donkey is the Loki, and Loki is also Saturn. Now, cross starts with CR, and many CR words go back to Saturn, like I said. Criminal, crook, crooked, croon, crone.
Crux, crucifix in chat, yeah.
Crucifix, yep. Crust, crumbs, right? Like leftovers, things that have been destroyed or, yeah.
Crush.
There you go, exactly.
Saturn crushes you with the weight of burdens, yeah.
Yep, perfect. Now that is that Saturn, Kronos root. And cross has that same phonetic root, so there is a connection there.
Now, and that's what Jesus died on. He didn't live on the cross. He died on the cross.
Yeah. So the black cross on the donkey's back is the southern crux, maybe. The cross of Saturn. Who knows? So, you know, we're going to talk about Thor's hammer and the cross here in a sec. But for right now, this is a further proof that Saturn is associated with the donkey. And Saturn's influence is constrictive, like Merlin said. It's oppressive, constrictive, and donkeys are a constricted animal. Not only because they are, you know, exerting themselves and they take on a lot of burden, but also because they're diminutive. They're like small. They're like shrunk. They're like a miniature horse, right? Like a dwarf horse a little bit. And they do that so that they are, you know, stronger walkers and not so much good at running. But some of them are good at running. So donkey, the down key, Saturn. Saturn exalts in Libra. Makes perfect sense that the liberals are symbolized by the donkey. Conservatives, Cancer, are symbolized by the elephant. It all has to do with the exaltations of the two planets. Jupiter exalting in Cancer, Libra, or Saturn exalting in Libra. That's where you get it.
100%. Somebody in chat asked, why did none of the parties choose an eagle? But Jupiter does rule eagles as well. So the eagles are definitely conservative. And again, like if you see somebody driving down the road and they've got an eagle decal on their truck, are they conservative or are they liberal? probably a conservative, right? Because it's just associated with America. Even the flag, the American flag, has become associated with conservatism rather than liberals. Liberals, like the flag is like a cross to a vampire at this point for them. Whereas conservatives love and embrace the flag, because it represents the nation.
Yeah. And there's also, these planets have different modalities. So like Jupiter in its peaceful, wise, version will be like the elephant. Jupiter in its conquering, there's another Cancer word. Cancer is not that conquering of a sign, right? So where does that thread come from? From Jupiter. Jupiter's a conquering planet. And yeah, some Cancerians are very Jupiterian too. Conquer is the same word as Cancer too.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
Conquer, Cancer, concur, right? To agree. I concur. My name is Connor. Also, it comes from the Irish concavar, which means lover of dogs, or wolf man, or dog trainer, or something like that. Concavar, right? Also means, connected to conqueror, right? Clearly. Canine, Cancer. So there's dogs associated with Cancer too, but
yeah, a great family animal.
The eagle is Jupiter in its conquering modality, right? Not necessarily, eagles are wise, but they're very fierce, and they are, yeah. So you see many Jupiterian republics being symbolized by the eagle. You see a lot of some monarchies being symbolized by the eagle. Monarchies are usually symbolized by the lion, right? That makes sense. Solar energy, the lion, Leo, ruled by the sun. But okay, what else can we talk about? Talked about the seasons a little. Talked about the donkey. Okay, the cross on the back. Let's focus on that for a sec.
Sure.
The cross on the back of the donkey. That last comment told me to talk about the. From Molly said the cross on their back could be adjacent to Jesus carrying the cross. How as animals they are bearers of much weight as carrier animals. Yep.
Yeah.
Spot on. Also, mule. The word mule, donkey, going back to down key and dawn, low key. Mule goes back to mulek. Mulek from the Bible. Not a good word. Moloch. Mulek and Moloch are pretty much synonymous. Malachi means Lord. So that's like Saturn is like a title. Someone's like Saturn, like their Lord, capital L. Malachi can mean that. Let me double check that. Yeah. Or messenger of God, it can mean that too. All right. Well, yeah, I guess it means more messenger, but. Well, okay. Mulek, right? Also, mula, like money, mula. Okay. I've got a cool little video we're going to watch. We've seen the cross on the back of the donkey. Now let's watch a cool little video about catfish. Who's ever heard about the cross and the catfish? Anybody?
Not I till today.
All right, let's watch this. This will be cool. Let's do it. This is from Nick's Seafood Restaurant YouTube channel. And the video is called A Little Boat Side Catfish Wisdom. Tell me if you can hear this.
Okay.
No.
That is a catfish.
Yeah, it's good.
once you see this,
Turn it up a
you'll
bit.
understand it. Do you see what I'm?
Turn it up a little
It's
bit.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not
It's
that
not
bad.
that.
See
Okay,
what
hang
you see
on.
right there? And what do you see? Most people don't know what this is.
What is that?
That is a catfish skull of a catfish. But once you see this, you'll understand it. Do you see what I'm? Do you see the crucifix?
Yeah.
The cross of Jesus on the cross.
Yeah.
And then on the back, you see the shield of David.
Oh yeah, that's wild.
And then you can see the. Now watch this part. See that these are the rocks in the catfish's head. So watch this. See that right there? Every catfish has two rocks like that. They're unique, and there's no two like it in the world.
Oh, how interesting.
And that represents the dice that were thrown upon the cloth.
That's cool.
So
Wow.
that's it. And what do you see? Most people don't
Watch
know
one more time.
What is that?
That is a catfish skull of a catfish. But once you see this,
Where's my money?
Oh
and
shit.
what do you
Oh.
see? Most people don't know what this is.
What is that?
That is a catfish skull of a catfish. But once you see this, you'll understand it. Do you see what I'm? You see what you can see right there? Do you see the crucifix?
Yeah.
The cross of Jesus on the cross.
See that?
That's
And then on
sick.
the back, you see the shield of David.
Oh yeah, that's wild.
And then you can see the. Now watch this part. See that these are the rocks in the catfish's head. Watch this. See that right there? Every catfish has two rocks like that. They're unique, and there's no two like it in the world.
Oh, how interesting.
And that represents the dice that were thrown upon the cloth.
That's cool.
So
Wow.
that's it. And what do you see?
I think this was a Florida fisherman too. I could be wrong. I don't know if he's affiliated with that restaurant or not, but
Nice.
that'd be cool if he's from Florida.
I do have slides for this, by the way.
Okay.
I got a good one pulled up actually.
Hell yeah.
Check this out. This is a poem, The Crucifix Fish. Of all the fishes in the sea, our Lord chose the lowly sail cat to remind us of his misery. His body on the cross is outlined, the hilt of the sword, which was plunged into his side, is clearly defined. Look at the back of the fish's bone, where the Roman shield is shown. When you shake the cross, you will hear the dice being tossed for our Lord's blood-stained dress. Those who can hear them will be blessed. So yeah, that's a thing. And that's what it looks like. That's like a close-up picture of it.
Whoa. Hell yeah. Well, I'm going to try and get my hands on a catfish skull now. So that's pretty cool. Another animal with a cross on it. You got the donkey and the catfish. Moving on. Let's go back to the elephant for a little. Other animals associated with Libra would be the owl and the goat, right? But Jupiter with the elephant, let's focus on the elephant for a little bit. I have a video called Elephants. Let me double check. Ancient elephants prove Florida
It's
was
in private
planted.
chat. I got a link to you in the private chat in StreamYard.
Thanks.
With a timestamp.
All right, one sec. All right. So I made a pretty big mistake in this video. I said it was only one sentence. I just mindlessly threw it in there because I misread something. But I think I said Thomas Jefferson founded the Republican Party. Okay, he didn't. That's not true. He didn't do that. he founded the Democratic, or he was influential in the Democratic Republican Party. So big difference there. But, the Democratic Republican Party would influence what would become the Republican Party, but they are not the same entity at all. So I made a pretty big mistake on that. But other than that, this section of the video is pretty cool. So let's watch.
Most Americans are aware that the elephant is
You can hear that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
the emblem. Fewer are the Republican Party, who had a fascination, was actually pro-Basidians, who had a fascination
Thomas
with America.
All right, Thomas Jefferson had a fascination with proboscideans, the elephant family. So let's watch this part. This is my Ancient Elephants Prove Florida Was Atlantis video. And no, I'm not joking. And yes, I'm being dead serious.
And proboscideans. Let us resume from the Encyclopedia of Cryptozoology. Quote, the future American president, Thomas Jefferson, had an interest in a number of animals, which would now be called cryptids.
Oh,
There are kitchens, and then
nice try, Masad.
Gotta get YouTube Premium, man.
Hell no.
Megalonyx, and mats, including the American lion, Megalonyx, and mastodons. In his work Notes on the State of Virginia in 1785, Jefferson recorded an account of a now famous Indian legend of a big buffalo, previously recorded in 1748 by a French officer named Fabry, which he believed could refer to the mastodon. Quote, in ancient times, a herd of these tremendous animals came to the Big Bone Licks and began a universal destruction of the bear, deer, elks, buffaloes, and other animals, which had been created for the use of the Indians. The great man above, looking down and seeing this, was so enraged that he seized his lightning, descended on the earth, seated himself on a neighboring mountain, on a rock, of which his seat and the print of his feet are still to be seen, and hurled his bolts among them till the whole were slaughtered, except the big bull, who, presenting his forehead to the shafts, shook them off as they fell, but missing one at length, it wounded him in the side, whereon, springing round, he bounded over the Ohio, over the Wabash, the Illinois, and finally over the Great Lakes, where he is living at this day. End quote. This legend is told by a variety of Amerindian groups in the New England region, who call the animal, quote, the Great Buffalo, or Big Queequees, father of oxen, and Great Elk. Another version of the legend was later published by the showman Albert Koch. Jefferson cautiously believed that the mastodon could survive somewhere in the unexplored interior of America. According to the lawyer and educator Nathan Guilford, the Potawatomi and Shawnee west of the Great Lakes called the extinct mastodons tree eaters and described them as semi-aquatic, browsing animals with very long and curling tusks, a rough blue-gray hide, and large ears. These Indians did not hunt the tree eaters. Rather, they respected the elephants for clearing the forests, enabling them to plant maize, and for their, quote, affectionate and docile disposition. Guilford quoted legends of Indians riding tree eaters, and of a baby tree eater, too young to browse successfully, wandering down the Ohio Valley and being domesticated by a Shawnee chief. As well as legends, Thomas Jefferson recorded a rumor that elephants were still to be found somewhere west of the Missouri River, on the authority of a certain Stanley, who had been captured by Indians near the Tennessee River. Quote, a Mr. Stanley, taken prisoner by the Indians near the mouth of the Tennessee, relates that, after being transferred through several tribes, from one to another, he was at length carried over the mountains west of the Missouri to a river which runs westwardly, that these bones abounded there, and that the natives described to him the animal to which they belonged, as still existing in the northern parts of the country, from which description he judged it to be an elephant. End quote. Republican President Abraham Lincoln also had a fascination with ancient American proboscideans. The following is an authentic quote of his, dated to the fall of 1848. Quote, "When Columbus first sought this continent, when Christ suffered on the cross, when Moses led Israel through the Red Sea, nay, even when Adam first came from the hand of his Maker, then as now, Niagara was roaring here. The eyes of that species of extinct giants, whose bones fill the mounds of America, have gazed on Niagara as ours do now. Contemporary with the whole race of men, and older than the first man, Niagara is strong and fresh today as 10,000 years ago. The mammoth and mastodon now so long dead, that fragments of their monstrous bones alone testify that they ever lived, have gazed on Niagara. In that long, long time, never still for a single moment, never dried, never froze, never slept, never rested." End quote. For those wondering, Lincoln was not only addressing the ancient American proboscideans, but was in fact also referring to a race of giant men interred within the Indian mounds of America. If you'd like to learn more about the hidden history of giants in Florida and ancient America, check out my other videos. In 1862, as the Civil War was in full swing, Abraham Lincoln came very close to receiving a number of elephants from the King of Siam for use in battle, as was and is the custom of Thailand. The following comes to us from the American Battlefield Trust and includes a letter of response written by Lincoln himself. Quote, "In one of the more humorous events of the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln politely rejected an offer of elephants from the King of Siam. While the letter from Rama IV, aka Mongut, was addressed to former President James Buchanan, it was up to Lincoln and his Secretary of State, William Seward, to politely decline this offer from afar. As Lincoln points out in his reply, steam power had overtaken the need for heavy animal power of this kind. This friendly exchange has elicited many fanciful what-ifs. What if the Union or Confederate Army had use of battalions of war elephants during the Civil War? Could there have been herds of angry pachyderms at Pickett's charge, or emerging from the forest lines at Shiloh?"
Hello, friends. Bishop Barron here. I'm really thrilled to share with you one of the most, I think, exciting.
Shut up, faggot.
Oh shit.
Quote, "To His Majesty Somdetch Phra Paramandra, Maha Mongut, King of Siam, great and good friend, I have received your Majesty's 2 letters of the date of February 14th, 1861. I have also received in good condition the royal gifts which accompanied those letters, namely, a sword of costly materials and exquisite workmanship, a photographic likeness of your Majesty and of your Majesty's beloved daughter."
He sent him a selfie, a fucking custom sword, and some pics of his daughters.
And also 2 elephants' tusks of length and magnitude such as indicate that they could have belonged only to an animal which was a native of Siam. Your Majesty's letters show an understanding that our laws forbid the President from receiving these rich presents as personal treasures. They are therefore accepted in accordance with your Majesty's desire as tokens of your goodwill and friendship for the American people. Congress being now in session at this Capitol, I have had great pleasure in making known to them this manifestation of your Majesty's munificence and kind consideration. Under the directions, the gifts will be placed among the archives of the government, where they will remain perpetually as tokens of mutual esteem and pacific dispositions, more honorable to both nations than any trophies of conquest could be. I appreciate most highly your Majesty's tender of good offices in forwarding this government a stock from which a supply of elephants might be raised on our own soil. This government would not hesitate to avail itself of so generous an offer if the object were one which could be made practically useful in the present condition of the United States. Our political jurisdiction, however, does not reach a latitude so low as to favor the multiplication of the elephant, and steam on land, as well as on water, has been our best and most efficient agent of transportation in internal commerce. I shall have occasion at no distant day to transmit to your Majesty some token of indication of the high sense which this government entertains of your Majesty's friendship. Meantime, wishing for your Majesty a long and happy life, and for the generous and emulous people of Siam the highest possible prosperity, I commend both to the blessing of Almighty God. Your good friend, Abraham Lincoln. Signed from Washington, February the 3rd, 1862. End quote. Speaking of the Civil War, seeing the elephant is the term soldiers used at that time to describe their first experience with combat, or to express their disillusion to warfare and desire for peace. This expression may have had its origin with the armies of Alexander the Great, whose morale plummeted in the presence of their enemies, war elephants. The phrase has since become an Americanism, which refers to gaining experience of the world in general at a significant cost. The elephant became the emblem and mascot for the Republican Party of America around 1874, when cartoonist Thomas Nast began using them in Harper's Weekly to symbolize Republicans during midterm elections. The mutual characteristics being alluded to are docility in times of peace, skittishness, emphasis on military might, overconsumption, and expansionism. The Republicans quickly embraced the elephant, making it their official symbol, and still use it today. Then there is the potential esoteric reference to Plato's Republic, which is written to be read.
All right, lots of good stuff in that video, but we'll try and keep it on topic. But that's a really good video. It's a pretty long one too, if you're into elephants. Pretty trippy stuff. Plato's Atlantis said that there were horses and elephants in Atlantis 13,000 years ago. There were elephants and horses in Florida 13,000 years ago. There weren't elephants or horses in most of Europe or most of the Mediterranean 13,000 years ago. Just something to think about. So that's kind of the premise of that whole video. But yeah, lots of cool stuff you could say about elephants, but that's only half the story here. Got the donkey and the elephant. That's who we're talking about. And yeah, so Jefferson, not necessarily a Republican by today's, definition, but he was involved in the very into elephants, basically. Abraham Lincoln, who was a Republican, also seemed to be pretty into elephants, or had elephants, come up in his life, So, okay, that is the two animals. We talked about them a fair amount, the elephant and the donkey. Well, how about symbolism now? Okay. Republicanism, I don't know if it has like a single symbol, but socialism and communism does have a symbol. And that symbol is the hammer and sickle. Excuse me. That Kush was tearing me up earlier. Excuse me. Oh, wait, actually, yeah. I smoke weed. Merlin's never touched the stuff in his life.
Of course not.
We'll just
Um,
leave it at that.
yeah. And dude, real quick, if I may, that part about the elephant, like seeing the elephant as like seeing the world is really cool. Just given that like old wives' tale or whatever it is, where like there are the five blind guys, touching the different parts of the elephant, trying to describe what the elephant is, and one person's like, "Oh, it's a snake. Oh, it's a tree trunk. It's a this. It's a that." So to see the elephant is to see the big picture. And Cancer, the nation people, conservatives are more big picture thinkers, and you know, liberals can be a bit short-sighted, not seeing the big picture sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah.
But sorry, yeah, back to the symbolism.
No, that's good stuff. Guys, on the right there is the symbol for Saturn, the astrological glyph for Saturn, the planet Saturn, who is Satan and Santa. Okay. Jordan Maxwell, shout out to him. Credit where credit's due. Jordan Maxwell pointed this out to me. I was watching one of his videos. The hammer and the sickle come from the symbol for Saturn. Isn't that crazy? Now you see the hammer up there, right? Kind of like the cross. You see the sickle on the right. I mean, it's clear as day. Now, the only issue I saw with this was you can kind of almost do the same thing with the symbol for Jupiter. It's a little harder, but I guess the way I made sense of that was the Jupiter symbol almost is the Saturn symbol, just turned upside down. They're just polarized, opposite of each other. Some of the ways people draw the Saturn and Jupiter symbols, so they look really close, really similar sometimes. It's just simply flipped upside down vertically. So the hammer and the sickle, just like we were saying, liberalism is Luciferianism. I should have just started out with that to make it clear. Liberalism is Luciferianism. That is backed up by the astrology and the mythology. Socialism is liberal and Luciferianism, but it's also Satanism. Remember, Saturn exalts in Libra. So a big part of Libra is Saturn ruling it. The hammer and the sickle are Saturn. Why? Well, Saturn also rules industry and agriculture. Industry and agriculture. The hammer represents industry. The sickle represents agriculture. And like Merlin said, labor comes from Libra too. So this is a Labor Party, Socialist Party, call it whatever you want. It's Luciferian in its like philosophy or its spiritual goals, and it's Saturnian in its philosophy. Okay, people are only valued by their labor output or their, yeah.
Forced labor is very Saturnian, and they were all about forced labor camps.
Mm-hmm.
The Holodomor, a
Yep.
true nightmare.
And liberals are full of false promises and false light and seduction. Remember, Lucifer and Libra are all about getting you to put more on your bill at the restaurant, getting you to stay out a little later than you should. That's what the sunset is there for. It's there to allure you into the darkness. Sunset wants you to come out so that you get stuck out in the darkness. That's the evening of the day. Libra is the evening of the year. The fall and the false light. The beautiful sunset. Oh my God, right? Just as good as a sunrise. But sunrise takes a little bit of discipline. Sunset, anyone can go wander out to and get lost and stuck in. Right. So the hammer and the sickle go back to Saturn. That's some cool stuff. Do we have any other slides for Saturn?
Yeah.
Sickle?
Oh, yeah. So check this out. This little bit. This is
read
this. The sickle symbolizes Saturn, who is also Rempha, Moloch, and Chuin. Saturn is Satan. The hammer is used in Masonry to represent the assassination and resurrection of Hiram Abiff, the Masonic Messiah, who is the Antichrist. the Masonic initiate is struck with a hammer in imitation of a Biff's assassination. This is true. Masons do initiate. They do these rituals, and that's one of the rituals is the whole Harama Biff assassination. Pretty crazy. They swear a lot of bloody oaths too. And yeah, that's I think the two Saturn. Oh yeah, then like again, like right, like so the hammer and sickle is Saturn. The sickle is Saturn. That's why Saturn Chronos is always with a scythe, right? That's why the Grim Reaper is Saturn. Saturn rules death, and Saturn holds the scythe. So that's a connection there.
Yeah.
And like Longo was talking about, every single astrology glyph, guys, is composed of three things. You have the circle. Oh, I'm going to put it more to the right so they can see it. The circle. Okay, there we go. Ready? You got the circle, you got the semicircle, and you have the cross. And the circle represents spirit, and the cross represents matter. So, like, what's the sun? The sun's a circle with a dot in it. The moon is the semicircle, right? So it's constant changing spirit. And then you can take a look at this and you can see like what every planet symbolizes or really is all about just based on the glyph, right? Like you've got Venus and Mars. Venus is the circle, that's spirit over matter. Mars is the cross, like that's the Mars glyph, right? But like this is also a fine Mars glyph. That like it's totally fine. Like it's really a cross over spirit. And like Longo was saying, like the Jupiter symbol is that sort of. I think I fucked it up a little bit, but it's pretty
Do the
much
letter.
that.
Do a 4.
Yeah, it's like a 4. So Jupiter
like a
is
4.
yeah, it's
No,
what am I doing, dude?
You're here. No, the curve's going the wrong way. Curve it the other way.
You're right. That's it. Yes. There it is. And then the Saturn one. Yeah. So the thing is there, right? So Jupiter is about spirit over matter. And again, like Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Jupiter rules Pisces. So it puts spirit over matter. Whereas Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. And just Saturn in general is all about matter over spirit. So just based on the cross, the circle, and the semicircle, you can understand all astrology glyphs, right? Like Mercury is mutable, and Mercury is a bit of everything. It has the circle, the semicircle, and the cross because Mercury is mutable and can be everywhere. It can be benefic, malefic, male, masculine, feminine, diurnal, nocturnal. Mercury is mutable and has everything in there. So, like, that's literally what the astrology glyphs mean. Just FYI.
Yeah, that's nice about the spirit over matter or mind over matter. John Sup says, Longo, New Smyrna Beach, freaking loves you, brother. Thanks, John Sup. Thanks for the $10. One sec. Getting a call from my dealer. Hey, I'll take a dime, please. Right away. $10 worth ASAP. Just joking. All right. So the hammer and the sickle we talked about. Hammer and sickle we talked about. Communism. Something else with communism is the word moon in communism. Saturn and the moon have a special relationship, and it's best understood in the deity known as Shiva. Okay, Shiva. Shiva is like Saturn and the moon slapped together into one. What does Saturn and the moon have to do with each other? Space and time. Area and time. Location. Location comes from Loki, and area comes from Maria. So the moon shows up in a couple different mythological, marriages. But Saturn's consort is Rhea. Rhea is where we get area meaning dimension, right? Time, Saturn is space and time. It is the material world. It's the matrix. It is the Saturn's the demiurge, okay? Don't frame your demiurge dualistically. Astrology is the better way to understand it. If the demiurge, if we really want to put a fraction to the demiurge, it's 1/7 of God's creative board of trustees, or yeah. Saturn's maybe the CEO, maybe the chairman of the board, but he's on a council and he is doing God's bidding ultimately. So
The connection between Saturn and the moon is so cool too, because Saturn has a 29.5 year synodic cycle, right? The moon has a 29.5 day synodic cycle. So 29.5 for both of them. And then what's insane, right, is that Saturn takes 29.5 years to transit the zodiac. In that time, the moon will transit the zodiac 365 times. So like there's just incredible connections between the sun, Saturn, and the moon just based on the numbers alone. It's pretty cool.
yeah. And like you said, the crescent moon and the sickle, or the scythe, sickle and the crescent moon, and the hammer, of course, Thor's hammer is very Jupiterian. We'll get to that. But the hammer of industry, right, being Saturnian, if you look at the cross is a unfolded cube. So there's a connection there, but it's a different application, right? The cross is connected to the cube because the cube is Saturnian, right? A lot of people know this. Cuba, or why did I say Cuba? Kaaba, the cube, right? And Cuba. But essentially, Saturn being attached to the cube, what was I just going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Yes, there you go. Yeah, you're showing it. The cross is the cube unfolded. Right? You ever unfold like a FedEx box or something and it looks a little bit like this? That's how you get the cross out of the cube. So the cross is a little bit Saturnian. There's no doubt about that. But the message and the modality, right? The function of this symbol is the unfolding of the freeing of spirit from matter, right? The unfolding, the liberation of spirit or form from matter. So, and not necessarily in a Gnostic way, but in the proper natural way,
Yeah, which is a great Jupiterian association with Jesus. Like the cube is constriction, is Saturn, Cuba, the where is that? Mecca, right? The black cube, Saturnian, Kaaba. And then the cross, the cross that Jesus died on, is Jupiterian, just like Jesus is a very, again, solar, but also Jupiterian in nature.
So you've got the cross and the crescent there, the sickle on the socialist, communist hammer and sickle. And that's satanic, guys. That's ultimately, to make a long story short, liberalism is Luciferianism, and this communism, this Marxism, whatever, Leninism, whatever you want to call it, the hammer and sickle is Satanism. It
100%.
is worshiping, it's not worshiping the goat and the devil, the devil with the horns and the tail. It's worshiping the industry, like the Lord of the Rings version of the devil, where industry is consuming nature and consuming like the natural way of life. That is another part of Saturn, is the industry, right? We say like locomotive, right? For train.
Yeah.
Loki, Saturn, industry. Yeah.
You want some music back on?
Yeah. Am I that boring? Okay.
No, 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 no. I was letting you
Just
know.
kidding.
Like, not at all. I mean,
Teasing. Best fucking show on the internet.
absolutely. Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer. Yeah. So another symbol. I couldn't really think of a conservative symbol, right? There's the hammer and the sickle. Well, what opposed the hammer and the sickle? The only thing I could think of was the swastika, right? Hate it, love it, whatever you guys think. The swastika is essentially like a 90-degree angle on the elbow, or it's the forearm making a 90-degree elbow with the hammer, right? Or it's the hammer, it's, well, whatever. So you see that how it's like 4 arms in like a wheel, right? Holding the hammer, swinging
100%.
the hammer, almost like rotating.
Yeah,
the
there's
arm.
motion in the swastika. Undeniable motion.
Yeah. The swastika is an undeniably Jupiterian symbol. It corresponds to Jupiter. And who knows? Satanists hate Jupiter. So draw your own conclusions from that.
Yeah, they're
But-
diametric opposites.
hmm I thought, we should also touch on different forms of government a little bit, and some of the etymology there. Government. Yeah, let's talk about Noah's Ark for a sec. That's cool. The word government in English, they tell us it comes from, I think, French, and then before that, Greek. Kubernos. Kubernas. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Kubernas. And that means to steer, right? So to steer. Kuber. 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 Okay. Well, what's interesting is Kuber, government, like they're steering your mind, or they're steering controlling the people, steering.
To say mind in Spanish is mente.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kuber, steer, that's the most commonly proposed origin for government. But I'm going to propose another one. And I'm not the only, but this is not, going to be in your dictionary. Okay. Govern also has to do with covering and oversight and being on top of, right? Like the top of the pyramid, the ceiling, the roof, the, house has a ceiling, right? A covering. Okay. The word cover and government have an undeniable link between them. The word cover in English, they'll tell you, comes from something else in French or whatever. But ultimately, it goes back to Hebrew. The word gopher is the wood that Noah's Ark was built out of. I talk about that all the time. Gopher wood. Now, gopher wood is used in the same sentence. The Genesis, where is it? I don't know, 6:14, around there.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, gopher wood. And in the same verse, it then says to pitch the ark, to cover it with pitch. To cover the ark with pitch. Yeah, coat it with pitch. You see that? So gopher wood. If you go to Hebrew, it's gopher is gopher. Yeah, that's a direct transliteration from Hebrew. Then you go to cover, and it's kafar, and then pitch is kofar with a K. So it's like alliteration, you know? Like, how would you say this? What's a sentence that does this? Connor coughed consistently, right? Alliteration. It's like it has almost a poetic or performative effect, right? Like if you're saying this in its original Hebrew, you would obviously notice that these three words are very similar, right? It's like realize, realize, realize.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like that. It's saying make the ark out of gopher wood, cover it with pitch, gopher, cover, and then pitch in Hebrew is kofer with a K. Cover is kafar in Hebrew. So gopher, kafar, and kofer with a K. Very close words, obviously linked. Strong's Concordance talks about them being linked. But what else? Cover. So gopher, they don't know what wood gopher is, but they think it might be linked to cypress. Okay, remember we were talking about government with kuber? Kuber, the Greek word, the Greek root, is the same root as cyber. So kuber, cyber, right? Because the Greek Y or U is turned into our Y, modern Y, right? In a lot of words. So cyber comes from kuber. Now what's crazy is cypress has a similar etymology. Cypress, cyber, cypress. So what that shows is that cover can be very, very closely linked to gopher wood. English cover, the word cover, essentially is the same in meaning and phonetically to the Hebrew kafar. And then pitch is like a coating, right? To pitch something. That's kofer with a K. Almost identical to the word cover. And what does this have to do with what we're talking about? Well, Noah got a bunch of animals, stuffed them in a boat, and then covered this boat with pitch, right? Or he covered it with pitch first, then filled it with animals. There's probably an elephant on there, probably a donkey on there. Who knows? He was a pretty diplomatic guy to get all those animals on one boat.
Right.
Government and covering, it's also the root word for sacrifice. So whenever you see the word, a lot of the times, I shouldn't say whenever, a lot of the times you see the word sacrifice in the Bible, it's saying the word kafar, or an offering, or kafar. When Adam and Eve were clothed in the Garden of Eden, it's using the same word, to cover. So like if you're covering the cost, it's like you're sacrificing. There's a scapegoat. Someone else is paying the price, right? Oh, I owe money. Oh, my friend says he'll cover it, right? That's a very ancient, goes way back in the Bible, that concept. So covering the price. Gopher, kofer, kafar. And I think we can put government in there too. Because not only are you kind of covering a people or overseeing, right? Over, there's that same root, over. All right, blah, blah, blah. But gopher, one of my favorite words, so I couldn't help but work it in there a little bit.
That's cool. And what a modern governmental concept. We keep covering our debt with more debt, right? Oh, we'll cover it. We'll just borrow more. We'll just cover it, borrow more, cover it, borrow more.
Yeah, the concept does have a lot to do with debt. That's a good point. Sacrifice, debt, going hand in hand with the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, gopher wood only grows in Florida. So I thought that was cool. Cyprus and cyber have a similar etymology too. But did you guys know that the word cyber comes from the same root as government? Like the cyber world, government.
Did not know that, but I mean, man, can it be easily tracked?
Mhm.
You know, so that makes total sense. And again,
Yeah.
like to cover is to control, you know, like to be over something is to control what's beneath you.
Yeah. Totally. Let's see what else.
So you were
Yeah.
thinking types of government. We got
yeah.
monarchy, we got anarchy we could talk about.
Yeah, anarchy could be called Janarchy because it's
Yeah.
Uranian. Janus,
Yeah, the rebel.
the rebel, revolutionary, the innovator, the humanitarian, right? So anarchy has a bit to do with Uranus. Plutocracy, rule by the mega rich,
Yeah.
ruled by the extremely wealthy. Plutocracy. Monarchy. Pretty solar. You know, you could work the word moon in there, but pretty solar concept, having a king, having a ruler. You know, in the Bible, the tribe of Judah is who the kings and the rulers would be, the tribe that the kings and rulers would be taken out of, symbolized by the lion, right? The animal of the sun. Leo
Yeah.
ruled by the sun. Judah, the lion. So having a king is a very solar concept. But yeah.
And you know, monarchy is cool because it is the focal point, just like the sun is the focal point, right? But the sun has counselors, right? Like Jesus came down, the Son of God had his 12 disciples. The sun has the 12 points of the zodiac. It's like a monarchy, you know, people help the king, right? And then phonetically and etymologically too, right? The word sun in Spanish is el sol, so it's solo, alone, the one ruler. And then the word moon is where we get mono. Moon is an anagram for mono. Mono means one, like a monorail. I got a monocle, not my bifocals, but my monocle. One, the one ruler. And you know, in Spanish, you know, the word moon is luna, that has una in it, la una, the one, you know. And again, talking about cosmology, guys, like the sun and moon are one of a kind. There's nothing else in the world like the sun. There's nothing else in the world like the moon. Those other stars in the sky are nothing like the sun. So that goes back to monarchy, the one ruler.
Totally. All right. Tyranny. Mars.
Cool.
Tyrant. Tire. How do you say Mars in Old English? Tier.
Yep.
To. Tie. We say tired, tyrant, tirade. Yeah. Terrible. Tear. Yep. Tywin.
Is Tywin a little Tywint? He's a little Tywint, right? It's like it's not much of a stretch there, guys. Like the name has tyrant baked into it.
Yeah.
Very martial. You know, they go to war.
Yeah, so tyranny, Mars, monarchy, the sun, plutocracy, Pluto, the rich. And people might say, well, hang on. Pluto doesn't rule wealth. Well, yes, it does. If you know how to look. The 8th house rules inherited wealth. Okay, so these are people who inherited their wealth, ruling. Or Pluto also rules extremes. So extreme wealth. Right.
Oh, dude. Yeah, not only is he 8th house association, and again, like the real rich guys, they're born wealthy because they inherit it, like Long was talking about. But where does Pluto exalt? Pisces,
Mm,
wealth, finance. So,
yeah.
like Taurus is earthly possessions. Taurus is, getting your money from the earth, from labor even. But Pisces is Wall Street, finance. So the Pluto connection between inheritance and finance. I mean, how do people like the Rothschild and the banking elite get their money? Well, inheritance and finance. Pisces.
Hmm. Plutocracy. This is a good comment. Plundered.
Ooh,
Right.
yeah.
Wealth being plundered. And also wealth, like mineral wealth. Metals being pulled out of mines. That's a very Plutonian thing. Going deep down into the earth to pull out wealth. Well, all right. What else? Anything else? You
Oh,
got written
dude.
down?
I mean, we got Trump's birth chart. We got.
Fuck.
We could save it, bro. If we're
Yeah.
looking to wrap it up, we'll save it because then we got like Venezuela's birth chart too. So that we got
we'll
plenty out of
save
it.
Yeah,
got
we're
plenty
at
out of
2
it.
hours. What else you got? Run through your slides. See if there's anything else you got that we didn't talk about.
That's the end. So we got those charts. We got the anarchy, the monarchy, the arc, the swastika. We covered that before. Nothing new.
Mhm.
Swastika, Thor's hammer. Thor's hammer has a triune, guys. A triforce, trinity on Thor's hammer. Pretty cool.
That's good because Thor is like the Thursday, the third. Thursday's not the third day of the week, but
It is not.
it's the third eye. Thor's
Yes.
eye is the third eye between the two. So, also triumph, threeness, the Trinity. That's that's Jupiter, baby. And also, Thor's hammer is between your legs, guys. That's the real Thor's hammer.
Oh, shoot.
There's a bit of a trinity going on downstairs, if you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, man, we hit it all. Politics, the astrology of politics.
Yep. Conservative, Cancer, Libra, liberal. Now you know, folks.
Don't be a jackass.
Yep. All right, folks. What else is there? I think that's it. Everyone go check out. One sec. Everyone go subscribe to Wise Wizard Merlin. I'm going to drop that in the chat. What you got going on, Merlin? Anything coming up?
Man, yeah, I mean, eventually my video on the outer planets is gonna come out. And then I've got a video I'm cooking up on. It's so done in my head. It's just, what I want to say about the British police and like how people are willing to sell their nation out for a paycheck, and like in what way will you compromise yourself in order to make money? And it's just disgusting what people are willing to do, really. As countries are getting invaded, people are just like fucking helping the invaders. It's crazy. Just so they're okay, oh, just leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Give me my money. I want to pay my bills. Don't, but I'm not going to do what's right, It's fucking, so, yeah. But astrologically, I don't know, I'll probably do a stream soon and then an Outer Planets video soon.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry, your audio was looping for me because I was listening to. I pulled up the video in another tab. My bad.
Oh, gotcha.
Guys, go subscribe to my other channel, Dr. Narco Longo. Wait, could you see my screen?
No, it's
Not at
got
all?
mine up right now.
Okay. Did you see your YouTube channel at all?
No, mine
fuck.
was pulled up. My bad, dude. I should have said something.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I was trying to do. Guys, go subscribe to Wise Wizard Merlin. His link is in the chat. And go subscribe to Dr. Narco Longo. Link is about to be in the chat. yeah, go subscribe to Dr. Narco Longo. It's my backup channel, non-Florida content on there, astrology focused kind of. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Let's turn up. Got some good music coming.
Shell, yeah.
All right. See ya.
Have a
Peace.
good week.
Here we go. Hell yeah.
So get back, you know I'm true.